Hi guys, this is Monica at cabincrewexcellence.com doing a quick interview for our friends at cabincrewhq.com. I started my aviation career almost 16 years ago as a ground staff in my hometown airport and got on to flying close to 13 years ago for one of the major airlines in the Middle East. I was a commercial cabin crew for about 6 years, then moved on to private aviation, and I'm very happy to say I believe I reached the peak of the profession. Well, as a cabin crew, I started off in Qatar, then private aviation took me to the Kingdom of Bahrain, then Saudi Arabia, and then eventually to Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. Now, I'm not sure if this is the last stop or not. We'll have to see. I've always wanted to fly, so when Qatar Airways came to my city for a recruitment drive, I literally just jumped at the opportunity. I have to say I was very lucky to be accepted from the first try. I remember being overwhelmed by the competition. It must have been hundreds of candidates that showed up on the day, and they only picked 32 of us. But anyway, I was so determined to become a cabin crew that I thought even if I don't get in the first time around, I'll just keep trying until I do. Because at the time I was a university graduate with a certificate that said I was intelligent, and I was already working for 2 years when I finished university. I had a pretty decent paying job at the airport, but no real perspectives for professional development. I was also very young, and I had a strong feeling that I can do more, I can see more, learn more, and grow bigger faster if I can start traveling the world, especially as an international cabin crew for such a big airline. Now, looking back, I can definitely say I reached all my goals, and I'm very happy for that. But to be honest, I couldn't really put my finger on one single thing. Seeing the world is definitely the biggest reward, but there are many experiences that you come across when working in such a multicultural environment and that touch you in one way or another and enrich your life more than any other professor could. I often see or hear crew complain about different experiences that are so normal in our profession, and it makes me smile really because I now know that I've gone through those exact experiences and they all taught me very valuable lessons and made me stronger, even wiser if you want, as a person and as a cabin crew. Well, for me, the hardest thing was being on such a hectic schedule at the beginning only, though. My body was used to a certain routine, and when I started flying, the routine was just all out the window. I'm pretty adaptable, though, and I really just did my best to find ways to cope with it and just make it work. Okay, that's a good question. The biggest misconception is that cabin crews are glorified waitress or waitresses, or even slaves, and that's a misconception, especially among cabin crew working for Middle Eastern airlines. I have to admit, it still gets to me a little bit when I hear these comparisons from active cabin crews. Most people don't know that a large part of the cabin crew population worldwide is highly educated. Many of them speak as many as 5 foreign languages. Besides their education, also, they undergo extensive safety, first aid, and survival training before they even start flying. Most importantly, I think it's good to understand that these are very compassionate individuals. Of course, most, not all, but the great majority. Being a real professional in the hospitality industry takes a lot of empathy and patience, and it's my biggest wish, really, that everybody acknowledges these facts and the effort involved. So, prestige and pride for the profession are restored sooner rather than later. There are many places I can get enough of, but if I have to pick an absolute favorite, I would have to say Malaysia. I'm a bit of a tourism junkie and I could go sightseeing in the same destination over and over again. So, Malaysia is the sort of place that constantly offers something new to see or to do. So, I used to love my flights to Kuala Lumpur. You know, I did, and it was very unexpected to be honest. When I started flying, I had a period when I gained a lot of weight in a very short amount of time. eating aircraft food at crazy hours, and having a very chaotic sleeping schedule threw my metabolism off in no time. So I went through some of the crash diets that I found online, and it didn't help me at all. So I started doing a lot of research on nutrition and fitness and figuring out what works for my body. As a result, 2 years into my flying career, I was getting my license as a personal fitness trainer and as a sports nutrition specialist. That, I have to say, helped me in more ways than one, and I always thought it's going to be a good backup for additional income later on. Well, the tips are many, but if I would have to sum it all up in 2 words, I would say thorough preparation. When you look at the statistics and understand that 90% of the cabin crew candidates get rejected, being prepared to meet or even exceed the recruiter's expectations is key. Now, the sad thing is most candidates aren't even aware they're not prepared when they show up to their interview day. I review countless portfolios of both commercial and VIP cabin crews, and to be honest, I'm amazed by the amount of badly written CVs and poor pictures, despite the clear guidelines provided by airlines in that sense. So, yeah, I would say preparation is of the essence, and it really needs to be done with industry professionals, not other candidates just as inexperienced as they are. Okay, my biggest wish for existing cabin crews is for them to always remember the excitement they felt when they got offered the job in the beginning and to go back to that feeling of happiness every time the going gets tough. Now, the job is without a doubt a difficult one. It can get tiring, it can get frustrating, and even very lonely at times. But it's also extremely rewarding, and if you stick with it, it will grow you as a person and a professional more than anybody can imagine. Absolutely, I'd be happy to. Cabin Crew Excellence is an online platform that supports individuals of all experience levels achieve their cabin crew goals. It's as simple as that. We prepare aspiring cabin crew to be successful at their interview. We train existing commercial cabin crew to become VIP cabin crew. We support commercial and VIP cabin crews to become leaders in their field, and we offer many more resources for personal development along the way. Now, the project is still very young, but we do have a lot of tools and resources in store for aspiring and existing cabin crew. Our real ambition is to empower and motivate them all to be amazing professionals and exceptional human beings. So we can all contribute not only to a better environment in the aviation industry, but to a better life experience, really, for ourselves and everybody else we come in contact with. On that note, it's been a pleasure doing this today, so thank you for having me, and I wish you all blue skies and happy landings.